Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Maggie, and today we are finally going to talk about Poshmark. And if you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know that this is sort of a long time coming because I have other videos about ThredUp, another closed donation site. I pit ThredUp and Goodwill against each other to teach you the differences, and I've also done a more in-depth video about my results from using ThredUp. And in my declutter videos that I filmed recently, that I can link above or below for you, I can link all of these below in the description box like I typically do. Anyway, in the declutter videos, I talked about trying to use Poshmark for some of the items that I was decluttering. I didn't really know how Poshmark worked. All I knew is you were an independent seller, and so you were responsible for taking the fancy pictures and posting them on the app and hoping that other people want to buy your things. Well, on ThredUp, they sort of do that whole hard process for you, which is really nice, especially for me because I don't have a fancy camera. I film everything on my phone. It was just, I felt like an easier donation method, but Poshmark makes it really, really easy to sell, but you have to have the right products. So I'm going to take you through what is Poshmark. We're going to walk through the details of it, and then I'm going to tell you about my selling experience and how easy this app really is to use, and how your return could be potentially really high depending on the type and brand and number of items that you have to sell. So let's jump in. So how does Poshmark work? The first thing that you have to do is list an item for sale. So you get it out of your closet and put it in a well-lit area. Style your photo to make it really appealing. Then you just take pictures with your phone, and it works very similarly to Instagram, like eerily similar. You take a picture and you can even choose different filters that you want on it, and you get to like reorder your photos to where you can pick a cover photo that pops up in the listing, and then people can scroll through and look at the others. My best advice here is to take pictures of every angle of what you're trying to sell. So for instance, I recently sold a purse. So I'll sort of walk you through with this purse example to teach you how, but I took pictures of the front of it laying down with a like cool filter on it to make it appealing, but then I also took pictures of the back so you could see the back pocket. I took pictures of the inside so that you could see the lining. I took pictures of the inside pockets. I even included the tag that I still had with it to prove that it was like a real, like the brand that I was telling people that it was, so that I'm not duping them. I'm not just telling them it's some brand and it's really some knockoff, so they can actually prove that it's real. Tell the truth with your pictures. Don't go on the internet and grab some internet picture of your item if that's not really yours, because they want to see the condition that this item is in. So once you get a good picture taken, it'll take you through this automatic form that you have to fill out. So you fill out the name of the item, the dimensions of the item, a description of the item. You even have the option to say, is it new with tags? You have the option to put its original purchase price, but then you have to also set your own selling price. Now a key here is that you'll see, once you type in a price, let's say you want to sell something for $45, it automatically will tell you the profit that you're going to make off of your listed price. And it's typically just whatever you set it for minus $5, because with Poshmark, they make it super duper easy to get a label, put it on your box, and ship it off without any sort of headache at the post office. So it's wise if you just go ahead and set your listing price to sort of cover that $5. It only took me 2 or 3 days to sell the purse that I listed. I ended up getting an offer from somebody, and they actually offered me lower than my original asking price. I didn't really do a back and forth. I didn't counter with them because I was like, you know what? I've had this forever. I actually had gotten it as a gift, but I don't know. You can be the person that goes back and forth. So let's say somebody lowballs you like tremendously. You get a notification in your app that says you have an offer on XYZ item, and you go in and you have the option to decline, counter, or accept. So when you counter, it shoots back them a message that says, hey, the seller has countered with this amount of dollars. Do you accept, decline, or counter? And so you sort of go back in a back and forth. It's not like a silent auction where you're seeing other people barter. It's simply a transaction between you and the seller. I ended up accepting her offer, and then right after that I got an email from Poshmark that was like, congratulations, you made your first sale. Click here to download and print a shipping label. And so all I had to do was click there, download, and print the shipping label. And it even walks you through these wonderful steps to teach you, oh, our best sellers typically do this when they send a package. So it says, wrap it up nicely. If it's breakable, be sure that it's in bubble wrap or something, you know, take care of the item in shipment process. But it also says include maybe a handwritten thank you note to the person for buying your item, because it's important to do these little extra touches or just make it look really nice, because first of all, all, it's fun to receive something new, even if it has been used in the past. But when your package arrives and it looks like the previous owner really took care of that item and really cared about it getting to you, I think that really says something. And it works just like Uber and Lyft, where the person who buys your item, they get to rate you as a seller. So if you just sent them, you know, like if I were to just throw the person a cardboard box and, you know, tape it up and send it off, and it was rattling around in there and it sort of smelled of cardboard and it just looked stupid, then I probably would have gotten a bad rating. But instead, I followed the instructions, I put it in nice tissue paper with a thank you note and sent it off. And I got money in my account like as soon as the buyer accepted the item. So to compare and contrast a little bit between Poshmark and ThredUp, with my one sale on Poshmark, I ended up getting more than my immediate payout from what I sent in for ThredUp. So with ThredUp, I think I sent in like 20 to 25 items, let's say. They immediately accepted 8 items, and I think I got $7.50 for them. Well, with this one sale, I made over that amount. So I will say the return that I've gotten from Poshmark is a lot higher than I've gotten from ThredUp, but also the quality of what I was sending in was a little different, but the quantity is just not comparable. Had I saved some of the really nice items that I sent into ThredUp, I could have made a lot more money on Poshmark. But you forget that all you have to do for ThredUp is order a bag, throw all your clothes in it, drop it off, and then you never have to touch it again. So ThredUp will pay you some money, but they'll also take pictures of your clothing. They list it for you. So it's sort of saving you the trouble of like going through the manual process with Poshmark. But if you know how to Instagram, you can list things on Poshmark. It's just a matter of taking a decent picture and getting it in decent lighting and taking the time to do that. Do the research to look up the exact, style number of what you're selling, list the description and everything. Overall, I am very pleased with Poshmark. The problem is I feel like it's so infiltrated with people selling things. There are people that make a full-blown living selling things on Poshmark. They basically have stores that are only on Poshmark. So they go out and they buy tons of items and they keep like inventory. So they have like 60 of one shirt and they have all these different sizes. Whereas you just have me that's sort of using it as a consignment store. So you can buy brand new things on Poshmark, or you can buy consignment items off of Poshmark. Whereas everything from ThredUp is consignment. Like there's nothing brand new because it's not a bunch of independent sellers. It's all these people that are just sending in clothes. Now some are new with tags, so I guess that would be a new item, but on the whole you have a much larger variety of clothes with Poshmark than you do with ThredUp. I personally think that if you have really nice things, if you're somebody who really focuses on brand name clothing and you just do not feel comfortable sending it into ThredUp and crossing your fingers that you get a high payout, try your hand at Poshmark first. Because I feel like if you have very recognizable brand name clothing, accessories, shoes, jewelry that are in really good shape and you have the ability to take a pretty decent picture, definitely give that a try first because there's no harm to you. Because you can always just take down your listing and then send it into ThredUp if it doesn't work out after a couple months or whatever time period you set for yourself. But if you're somebody who maybe, like me, I shop a lot at Old Navy and Target and Loft and just like big box stores. So the brand names of my clothing is not always the most appealing, I'm guessing, to the market on Poshmark. On the whole, that's not what I have. So for me, ThredUp is definitely a much easier sort of bulk clean out process, where Poshmark you're sort of waiting on each individual piece to sell, and it's a lot more trips back and forth to the post office to drop those things off. Now granted, it's super easy, I just had to drop it in because I already had my prepaid label and everything, but ThredUp is definitely for the bargain shopper who has a big bulk clean out, whereas Poshmark is for the high-end shopper that has one or two things that they want to get rid of periodically. I think that is the best way that I could probably put it. But if you have a different experience on Poshmark, or if you have any tips on how to get things to sell, then please list them in the comments below. I know that they also have virtual shopping parties, but I haven't really gotten into all of the details and intricacies of that. I did read it something where you can hold a Posh party with your friends. So if me and 5 of my friends wanted to list all of our things together and invite random people in the Poshmark community to it, they could shop all of our things in one place, which seems really cool, but I just don't have a lot of friends that use it, and I get notifications about Posh parties all the time, so it's a little overwhelming. Yeah, again, if you know any more about that, or if you know anything more about Poshmark that could help people out, or if you've had a more up-to-date experience with ThredUp that you'd like to share with us, please list that in the comments below. I do know that ThredUp now offers a no-fee bag situation, but it does take roughly 55 days for your bag to get processed if you don't want to pay a fee for anything. So be aware when you're sending in seasonal type clothing, because that will really play into how much you get paid out if what you're sending in isn't getting reviewed until 55 days later. Yeah, check out my other ThredUp videos and ThredUp versus Goodwill video, and I'll even link my declutter videos down below like we mentioned earlier if you want to see a little bit about how I declutter and why I'm so into all these sites about reselling and consigning clothes. So anyway, if you did like this video or if you learned something new today, then please like it and stick around for some more by hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.